Hi everyone, my name is Ashley with Clover Patch Knits and I am here for episode 9 of my podcast. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you are returning back to my channel, welcome back to you as well. But on today's episode, I'm going to be showing you all some things that I've been working on. I'm super excited to show you all that, and I'm also going to share with you like a crazy story that happened with one of the projects that I was working on. But before I share that crazy story, I'm going to show you the first thing that I have been working on. So goal for me this year is to make a Christmas sweater. So I've been working on my 2025 Christmas sweater that I plan on wearing the whole month of like December. And if I get done soon enough with this sweater, I hope to wear it like at least in November too, because I wear Christmas stuff all throughout the year. But the Christmas sweater that I've been working on is the Northern Augustin No. 6 by Anna Sophia Velling. I've talked about this sweater before in other videos that I've made. It's a beautiful sweater. So when I started working on my Northern Augustin No. 6, this is how far I got. I think it was so cute. I got all the way down to like the candy cane section, if you all can see. I know it's kind of tiny, but really cute. Now, what is so funny that happened with this sweater? I originally was like, I want to go with a gray sweater because I didn't want my sweater to be brown like how the original sweater looks, and the pattern is brown sweater. I was like, I don't want it to be brown. Well, I ended up changing my mind for several reasons, but I ended up changing my mind. I was like, I think I want my Christmas sweater to be brown now. So I ended up changing and getting more yarn, and then I ended up changing the sweater to a brown color. Now, let me tell y'all one of the reasons why I changed my mind. So with one of the mohair and finger and weight yarns that I was using for my candy cane was the Dropped Kid Silk. I think that's how you say Dropped Kid Silk mohair. It was one of their red colors. Now, never used that mohair brand before, but when I was reading the care instructions on that yarn, it said you may have bleeding. Now, that made me nervous because this gray is a little bit light. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do a pre-block just to see if I have any bleeding with the yarn, because I would hate to get done with my sweater and start blocking it and then it potentially gets ruined because the dye starts to bleed on the other parts of my sweater. So this doesn't look bad because I did end up pre-blocking this, but it doesn't look bad. But I could tell a little bit of the red dye did go into the white part of my candy cane. So I said, you know what, to be on the safe side, that's also what made me choose brown, because I said to be on the safe side, I think when I block my sweater, if the red dye does kind of like bleed a little bit, you won't be able to see it as much on the brown. And I ended up actually getting another red mohair color as well, because I have not had any issues, because I'm using Knitting for Olive, their fingering weight and mohair. I haven't had any issues with Knitting for Olive's mohair or fingering weight yarn having any bleeding. So I ended up, instead of using the Drop Kid Silk red mohair, I ended up getting a Knitting for Olive. It is their red current mohair, because like I said, I haven't had any issues with those dyes bleeding or anything, so I did change that. But the color that I'm going to be using for my Christmas sweater now is their brown nougat color, and I actually love this color, and I think it is going to be so cute for Christmas, because this brown color is going to remind me of gingerbread, and that's just going to go perfect with the whole Christmas theme. So this is really cute. This right here is the cuff. Well, this is like the neckline cuff of my sweater, and so once I get done with this section, I'll fold it over, do the folded collar, and then work on the motif section and then finish my sweater. Now, the only thing I was nervous, I have never made like a neckline this long. I'm gonna make about 12 centimeters of neckline, and I was concerned that it was gonna look a little bit like a turtleneck, because turtlenecks, I usually do not go for turtlenecks, but when I tried this one on, because I just wanted to see how it was gonna fit, it hits about right around here on my neck. So I was like, okay, that's doable. It's not super turtleneck, but I love this. I think it is going to be so cute. And this is actually how the Knitting for Olive brown nougat, this is their finger weight. This is how the color looks, and this is their mohair. This is how it looks holding this double, and I got this. So I can't wait to finish this. If you're seeing what this is my I'm trying to think what bind off did I use for this. I think it's, I can't remember the name of the bind off, y'all, that I used on this, but Once I find it, I'll put in the link below. But I'm using a different bind off compared to the one that was required in the pattern. If you see my last podcast episode, I put what bind off, or not bind off, what cast on that I am using for this sweater, because I'm using a little bit different one, but I like this method and I think it works super well for this sweater. But like I said, in the last podcast episode that I made, I shared what cast on that I was using for my sweater. So that is how my Christmas sweater has been going so far. And I also did, so y'all, on the Christmas sweater, I forgot there is a section where you make a Christmas tree. And I didn't even think about this, but on the Christmas tree section, I'm gonna need like a little space of brown for like the branch or whatever of my Christmas tree. I totally forgot about that. I bought no dark brown yarn. So I also got, this color is, let me see what color is this. This is called Dark Cognac. This is Knitting for Olive. This is their mohair steel and their fingering weight yarn. So I'm gonna hold these doubles when I get to that section of the motif. But I totally did not think about that. Like, I was like, of course I'm gonna need dark brown for the Christmas tree section of when I get to that part in the sweater. So I totally did not think about that. So I feel like, because I don't really have many other projects going, because I've kind of knocked down some of the things that I wanted to make this year on my list. So I don't know, I probably can get done with that sweater probably in September. Just the way I'm going, once I get done filming this podcast, I'm really going to work on my Christmas sweater because I want to get done with the sweater. But so far it's going great. And I don't know, if you all like the pattern, you all should give it a try if you want to have a Christmas sweater. And I also forgot to mention that since I have changed the yarn color for my Christmas sweater, with this gray color, I'm like, I don't want to waste this gray yarn because I have so much gray yarn. And then I remembered that I plan on making the porcelain sweater by Lee Knits. That is such a beautiful sweater. But I plan on starting that sweater maybe around like maybe end of September, maybe October, but that may be one of the projects that laps over into 2026 for me, which that's totally fine. But I said, you know what, I already planned on having my porcelain sweater to be gray as well, so I said I'll just use this color for my this gray color for my porcelain sweater. So I'm so glad that that yarn is also not going to waste as well. And I'm actually kind of glad that I changed the color of my Christmas sweater, because I'm like, did I really want to have two gray sweaters in my collection? So because I don't think I have a brown sweater in my collection, so I like that I have like a brown sweater and a gray sweater. So I'm so glad that that yarn is not going to waste, and I actually need to probably go ahead and buy the yarn for my porcelain sweater so I can have it. I need to do that and add that on my to-do list because I've not done that yet. Now the next project that I have been working on is my simple, I think it's the Simple Beginner Tank by Knit Crow Addict. I also have talked about this pattern before as well in previous episodes, but this is as far that I have gotten on my tank top. I'll put the yarn that I'm using in the description box below so you all can check it out, because I can't remember. I know the color is called Cherish. I can't remember the name, like the brand name of the yarn rather, but I'll put it in the link below so you all can check it out because I love this yarn so far. Look at my little stitch marker, but I love the yarn. It is extremely sturdy. That's what makes me so happy, because I feel like when I start wearing this tank top, it is going to last. But this is how far I've gotten. I'm working on the body of my tank top. I'm almost done. Once I get done with the body of my tank top, I'm gonna do my ribbing and then I'll bind off, and then I still have to do the like ribbing for the side armholes of my tank top. Now I did a test ribbing for like the top of my tank top, which honestly I don't like how it looks. It looks a little bit too stretched out, so I plan on taking this part out of my ribbing and redoing it. I have to figure out what type of ribbing and bind off I want to do on this section. So in the pattern, the bind off that you're using on this tank top is like a tubular bind off. So I've never done a tubular bind off, but of course I went to YouTube because I was like, I know YouTube is going to be able to help me when I tried to do the tubular bind off, I think I was like super distracted, so it didn't go well. So I probably need to retry it again with the tubular bind off just to see how that looks when I'm actually like concentrating. Since I've never done that bind off before, it was a little bit difficult. So I said, okay, let me retry a different bind off. So I ended up doing the bind off where you do in pattern. I tried that bind off, and this is the one that's currently on there. I feel like when I did that bind off, when I like did the bind off in pattern, I feel like it looks a little bit kind of like rustic, and I'm trying to decide, like, do I want my bind off on my tank top to have a like rustic look, or do I want to have like a little bit more just like cleaner look, which I feel like the tubular bind off would give me a super clean look on my collar of my tank top. So I have to decide what bind off I want to use. And so I tried a couple different methods because I tried to size down a needle size when I was doing the ribbing of my tank top and also just the bind off. So I kind of got to decide on what bind off, but this should be probably my next finished project because I'm almost done. The yarn, I cannot talk like more and more about that yarn, just enough about the yarn, because it is extremely sturdy. This is DK weight. Is it yeah, this is DK weight yarn number 3, but I love how sturdy this is. So if you are a beginner, this would be a great project for you, and also great yarn to use because I feel like it's going to last when it comes to like just care and washing and wearing your tank top. I think it's going to last, and especially if you're like me where you've had to rip out some of the yarn and restart, it will hold up. So I love this. I think this color is really cute, and this yarn is also soft. Like I've talked about this yarn in previous videos, but even though it's extremely like sturdy, it also is very, very soft. So because I tried it on, I was like, this, I tried on the tank top, but I was like, this yarn is also super soft as well. So that makes me excited because I was kind of concerned. I've shared like how when I use cotton yarns, because this yarn is a blend of cotton and a few other fibers, but it's majority cotton yarn. When I am working with cotton yarn, a lot of times it has not been my favorite, but I can work on this project for a really long time without like the yarn making my fingers hurt when I'm working with it. And a lot of times when I have projects that use cotton yarn, it just was not comfortable for me to wear. So I love this. Like when I go to the beach this year, this is going to be so great for when I go on vacation. Like it's just going to be a great, I'm just going to throw it in my suitcase, and it's going to be really cute. So I got to work on this. So y'all see, when I get done filming this project, when I get done filming this podcast, I have like 2 projects that I need to work on. Well, you know what? I just remembered. With this tank top, I actually got to buy some more yarn because I'm playing yarn chicken, y'all, with this tank top. So I need to order some more yarn for this tank top today so I can go ahead and finish this, because I'm running out, y'all, and I know I'm not going to have enough yarn to finish my tank top. So I got to add that on my to-do list today, is to go ahead and order some more yarn for this tank top. But really cute, you all. So now I'm going to show y'all the crazy thing that happened with one of the projects that I was working on. Now that project I was working on was the Palm Springs tank by Leslie Forrester. That is such a cute tank top, an amazing pattern, but the yarn that I was using with that pattern was the Knit Picks Fingering Comfy yarn. So I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. So as I was scrolling on Instagram, as many of us do, a reel pops up, and it is talking about how Knit Picks allegedly has issues like with carpet beetles at one of their warehouses or distribution sites or whatever, of where they send their yarn from. So I had never heard of that. So y'all, like, I have a bug phobia. So of course, as I'm watching this reel, I'm like freaking out because I'm like, okay, I gotta check my yarn stash to make sure everything is fine. And I checked the yarn that I got from Knit Picks. It looked fine. Like, honestly, I think I was okay, because as I was researching about carpet beetles, there's apparently like certain fibers that bug like does not care for. And the fingering comfy yarn by Knit Picks is a mix, I think, of like acrylic and cotton yarn, and apparently those fibers carpet beetles don't care for. So my yarn honestly looked 100% fine. I feel like it was, but I decided to go on the safe side and not take a risk. So y'all, I threw my tank top away. Oh my god, I almost cried, like, because like I said, I was 95% done with my tank top, but I'm like, just because it looks fine now, I don't know if there was like any potential larva or anything on the yarn from carpet beetles, so I just decided to throw my tank top away. And I also was having like an order from Knit Picks coming as well, so I was like, I'm just gonna return the yarn just to be on the safe side. But I also put the YouTube video from the YouTuber that made a video about the alleged issues that Knit Picks is having, so you all can check that out, because I've never heard about them having an issue allegedly with carpet beetles or any pests. So I think it's good to be aware, because Knit Picks has been having a lot of like sales on their yarn, and I even bought some of their yarn from the sale that they were having. But like I said, I think the yarn that I bought from them was totally fine. Now the reason why I decided to return my last order from them and just throw away my tank top, because allegedly one of the like distribution sites that is having the pest issues, my yarn did come from there. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be precautious, because yeah, I worked so hard on my tank top, but I would just rather be safe than sorry, because if you have carpet beetles, it can like ruin your yarn stash, and so I don't want any of that to happen. So that also let me down like the rabbit hole of course all these videos started popping up about how people do these preventative measures to protect their yarn against pests, which I have never, like I've been knitting for like, it will be 9 years in September, but I've never heard of that before. So of course, as I'm watching all these other videos, I'm like, okay, I gotta do the preventative measures to protect my yarn against pests. And I guess I never heard about doing the preventative measures to protect your yarn, because majority of my yarn, I always call it a career, but majority of my like knitting hobby was consisted of me using like acrylic yarn, because I was not a fan of hand washing anything. But in the last 2 years, I've switched over to like hand dyed yarns and different fibers. So I guess that's why I never heard about any like preventative measures. But there's a couple preventative things that people do. Some people say they put their yarn like in the car, in the trunk of their car, or some people do the freezer method, where you put your yarn in the freezer for a little while and let it come to room temperature and put it back in the freezer to try to protect your yarn, which I did start using the freezer technique. So I want to know, like, have you all like heard anything about doing any preventative measures to protect your yarn? And if you do, I want to know, like, what are you doing to try to protect your yarn? Put in the comments below, because I definitely want to know, because I mean, nobody wants to lose like their yarn stash, because I mean, we spend a lot of money on yarn. I know I do, rather, but I spend a lot of money on yarn, and I don't want anything to happen to my yarn or projects that I've already worked on. And plus, I don't want to just have carpet beetles, because like I said, I have a huge bug phobia, so I don't want to have any like issues with bugs. But yeah, if you're doing anything to like protect your yarn from any pests, moth, or anything, I want to know, like, what are you all doing, because I have never heard of that before. But I'll put also some videos of like the preventative ways to kind of help protect your yarn in the link below as well, if you all want to check that out too. Since I'm not going to be working on my Palm Springs tank, I was debating between, okay, do I want to make another tank top, or do I want to start on another tee? Because I love knit tees, like they're amazing to make and they don't take long. So I decided I think I want to make another knit tee. Now I'm debating between the Wake Up Tee by Sasha Hyre. So sorry if I mispronounced your last name, but I've been looking at the tee for a minute, because it's a simple like design, and I know it's gonna be great for when I'm watching like a TV show or a movie. But I also am looking at the Amelie tee by Petite knit. Y'all, I've never seen that pattern before, but it's really cute. The Amelie tee by Petite knit is like a striped tee. Now if I do make the Amelie tee, I definitely will be using one color, just because I've been like working with stranded color work for my Northern Augustin No. 6, my Christmas sweater. And y'all, that has been a lot, because I have not done this stranded color work or multiple color work with knits in a hot little minute. So I was like, I want something that is just a mindless knit that's gonna be easy for me. So I'm kind of leaning on the Wake Up Tee, also because I've already made one petite garment this year, which was the Monday sweater. Y'all, I still love my Monday sweater. Like, when I tell you that is really an excellent pattern, I can go on and on about that pattern. But and also in 2026, I plan on making like another petite knit garment anyway. So I'm like, since I plan on doing that, I'm also leaning to the Wake Up Tee because I like trying different patterns by different designers. And I think this is going to be my next video. I'm going to kind of show you all like what I plan on making in 2026. Now, of course, my list can definitely change, but just kind of getting some ideals together so I can kind of be organized for what I want to make next year. So I gotta re-look at the Wake Up Tee pattern, but I do think I want to go ahead and start on that one. Before I end this episode, of course, I got to share with you all the encouraging quote of the day, because I don't know if you're like me, but I love like finding those encouraging quotes just to encourage myself or also send to people that I know. But the encouraging quote of the day says, "All dreams are within to reach. All you have to do is keep moving toward them." That quote is by Viola Davis. So I hope that message encouraged you today. And if you have stayed this long to watch the full episode, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a like or subscribe. But until next time, I will see you all later. Bye.